The rain had already soaked through Sam Walker's jacket by the time he pulled his old pickup onto the narrow county road. He was late getting home from his second job again, and his 10-year-old daughter, Lily, was probably already asleep on the couch waiting for him. He kept telling himself this would be temporary, just until he got back on his feet after his wife passed. But tonight, something felt different. The world was too quiet. Too dark. And then he saw her. A woman, barely visible under the flicker of a broken streetlight, lying crumpled in the gravel like a discarded doll. Sam's heart lurched. He slammed the brakes, jumped out into the storm, and ran toward her. When he knelt beside her, he realized she wasn't just hurt, she was beaten, badly. And when she whispered that she couldn't move her legs, Sam felt his breath freeze. He had no idea then that this moment would change his life forever, and that the woman he was struggling to lift into his truck was someone from his past he never expected to see again. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment to support the channel. Your engagement helps stories like this reach more people. This is TruthLines USA, where real, heartfelt stories remind us that kindness still matters. Sam had always considered himself an ordinary man. Not a hero. Not someone others paid attention to. Just a single father trying his best. He drove a delivery truck during the day and washed dishes in a small diner at night. His old truck rattled, his wallet stayed thin, and his heart had been bruised since losing his wife, Emily, to cancer 3 years earlier. But he still had Lily, bright-eyed and soft-spoken, who left him little drawings in his lunchbox that whispered, "We're gonna be okay, Daddy." That night, as he carried the injured woman into his truck, her weight felt like more than just a body. It felt like responsibility, an urgency pulsing beneath her shallow breaths. She was conscious but fading in and out, her voice slurred with pain. "Please, don't leave me," she whispered. "I won't," Sam assured her, pulling off his rain-soaked shirt to cushion her head. "You're safe now." He sped toward the nearest hospital, windshield wipers smearing the storm into streaks of gray. The woman's trembling hand clutched his sleeve. Her clothes were torn, her face bruised so deeply he could barely make out her features. She looked like someone who had been running from something for a long time. At the hospital, doctors rushed her inside as Sam stood dripping on the linoleum floor, hands shaking. A nurse approached him with a clipboard. "Are you family?" "No. Just someone who couldn't drive past." The nurse nodded, almost surprised by his sincerity. Most people wouldn't have stopped out there in this weather. Sam shrugged, uncomfortable with the attention. Would have been wrong not to. He waited in the lobby for an hour, then 2. He should have gone home, Lily needed him, but something in him couldn't leave this stranger alone. He stared at the clock, at the vending machine humming in the corner, at the reflection of his tired face in the window. Finally, a doctor approached. "She's stable," he said. "Severe spinal trauma. She may not walk again. But she's awake now and asking for the men who brought her in, asking for you." Sam felt a strange mix of fear and confusion. Why would she want him? When he stepped into her room, the woman looked at him, eyes swollen, lips cracked, but there was something familiar beneath the bruises. Something that tugged at an old, half-buried memory. "Sam," she whispered. He froze. His stomach dropped. Do I know you?" She nodded weakly. "It's me. Claire." He blinked. Everything blurred for a second. Claire, the name slammed into him like a wave. Claire Henderson. The girl who had once made his high school years miserable. The girl who mocked his thrift store shoes, his hand-me-down clothes, and the fact that his mother worked nights cleaning offices. The girl who started the rumor that he lived in a trailer park, when he didn't, and never apologized when it followed him for years. What happened to you?" he asked, barely able to process the moment. Her eyes filled with tears. "I didn't know where else to go. I tried to get away. From him." It didn't take much for Sam to understand who him was. The bruises told the story clearly enough. And somehow, despite everything she had once done, all Sam felt was pity. People changed. Pain changed them even more. Over the next several days, Sam visited the hospital after every shift. He brought her water, helped adjust her pillows, and sat quietly when she didn't feel like talking. The nurses began greeting him with warm smiles. One evening, Claire gathered the courage to speak. "Why are you helping me?" she asked. "After the way I treated you. I wouldn't blame you if you walked out the door and never looked back." Sam sat down beside her, folding his calloused hands in his lap. "Because somebody should have helped Emily," he said softly. Claire's gaze softened. Sam had never talked about his wife much, but now the story spilled out of him, the double shifts, the hospital bills, the nights he held Emily's hand as the machines beeped around them. How people he'd once called friends drifted away little by little. How kindness had become a rare thing. "When I found you on the road," he continued, "I didn't see the kid who made my life hard. I saw someone scared, hurt, and alone. And I know what that feels like." Claire's tears spilled silently. Over time, Sam introduced Claire to Lily, who shyly offered her handmade get-well cards. Claire's whole face brightened at the sight of the little girl, and she held each card like fragile treasure. "Your daughter is beautiful," she whispered. "She gets it from her mom," Sam said with a smile. Weeks turned into months. Claire's prognosis remained uncertain, but her spirit slowly revived. The hospital social worker explained that Claire couldn't return home, not while her abuser was still out there. She needed a safe place. And that's when Sam did something he hadn't planned. He offered her his spare room. It wasn't much, just a converted storage room with mismatched furniture, but Claire accepted it with gratitude so deep it brought her to tears. Lily helped decorate, taping stars and hearts on the walls, proudly pointing out every detail. "This one means you're safe," Lily said, sticking a star above the bed. "Yes," Claire said, pulling her into a hug. "I see that." Sam's neighbors had their opinions, but he didn't care. Compassion mattered more than gossip. And as Claire regained her strength, she insisted on helping around the house, folding laundry, cooking simple meals from her wheelchair, reading bedtime stories to Lily, whose giggles filled the house again. But the day that truly changed everything came in early spring. Sam returned home to find Claire sitting by the window, sunlight spilling over her face. She looked stronger, determined. "Sam," she said, "I need to tell you the truth." He sat beside her, sensing her trembling. "My whole life, I judged people because I was scared of who I really was. I hurt others so no one could hurt me first. I'm not proud of it. And I want you to know, I remember everything I did to you. Every word. Every rumor. And I am so sorry." Sam didn't answer right away. He looked out the window, watching Lily chase the neighbor's puppy near the fence. "You were a kid," he finally said. "And you're not that person anymore." Claire's shoulders shook with relief. "You saved my life," she whispered. "I don't know how to ever repay that." Sam smiled gently. "Just be good to my daughter. And be good to yourself. That's enough." In that small, sunlit moment, Claire realized something she had never understood before: kindness wasn't weakness. Kindness was strength, wrapped in humility. Months later, Claire's progress surprised even her doctors. With therapy, determination, and the unwavering support of Sam and Lily, she eventually took her first steps again. They were slow, painful, shaky, but they were hers. When she walked across the living room for the first time, Lily cheered, "You're doing it, Claire. You're really doing it." Sam felt tears burn the corners of his eyes. Not sadness, hope. Claire began volunteering at the local women's shelter, sharing her story to help others escape abusive situations. She spoke honestly about her past mistakes, the danger she ignored, and the stranger who showed her more kindness than she deserved. And every time she told the story, she ended it the same way. "Kindness saved me. Kindness rebuilt my life. And if you give it freely, without judgment, you might save someone else too." Sam never sought recognition. He went on working his jobs, raising Lily, fixing that old truck every time it coughed. But he carried something new in his heart, a sense of quiet certainty that kindness mattered, even when life felt bruised and unfair. And Claire? She became part of their family. Not out of pity, not out of obligation, but out of gratitude, healing, and a bond forged in a moment of desperation on a dark, rainy road. People often think kindness requires grand gestures. But sometimes it's as simple as stopping your truck. Reaching out a hand. Choosing compassion over judgment. Because you never know whose life you might change. or how deeply your own might